He only has 5 minutes to do his presentation, and I promise you, I'll let the rest of you ask her your question. He said he only has 5 minutes. If you give him 5 minutes, I promise you, we'll get to the rest of your questions. Would you guys be so kind to allow him to do that?
Sure.
Thank you. Can I get the lights back? Thank you. Thank you.
Just a few items tonight. One of the items that was on the agenda was, Dan was going to say a few words about the dog park. We're going to be building, laying out a new dog park at the park up at 9th and Avenue of the Palm. And so I passed around some handouts that have diagrams of where the location's going to be. More people here than we typically get, so hopefully everybody will get a handout. But the fence should start going up tomorrow, and over time we'll be adding benches and water stations and so forth. So for people with dogs, that'll be happening tomorrow.
When is it going to be open?
It should be open within a couple weeks. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to close that area of the park. As soon as the gates are in place, then people will be able to let their dogs off leash. And the entrance will have a double gate system, so that, you know, if your dog's off leash and someone opens the gate to come in, your dog won't run out. So that'll be set up. The other thing I wanted to make sure everybody got a copy of tonight is there's this little 8.5 by 5.5 sheet of paper. There's more of them up there, but the developer has awarded the demolition contract to demolish the Star Barracks and some of the other buildings here on Treasure Island. So that work is going to be starting in the near future, and they've set up a construction hotline. If you have questions or have any concerns about what might be improper procedures by the contractor, please call that number. We also have a page on our website where we're going to be updating construction information on at least a monthly basis. So take that with you and hang on to it. When the first fences that are going to go up around the Star Barracks are just going to go around the dirt area around the Star Barracks. And that'll be for the first couple of months while they do the cleanup inside of those buildings before the actual demolition starts. But you should see that fence going up next month. Also, next Thursday evening, the city's Department of Emergency Management, along with TIDA and TICD, will be having an open house here to provide information on the city's recently completed a tsunami response plan, and DEM will be here to provide information on tsunami risks in the area. And then the last thing I wanted to highlight also is there's flyers up there. CHP is going to be having two classes at the bungalows on how to install a raised planter bed for gardening, if you're interested. So that'll be on Fridays. I guess the first class has actually already started, but there will be another class starting in June and running through the month of June. So if you have an interest in that, go ahead and pick up a flyer.
Can I ask you a question, Bob?
Sure.
The area, I heard, and this is rumor only, that the ground around the Starburst Barracks is going to be, they're going to bury infrastructure underneath that in terms of electrical and piping and that sort of thing. Is that true?
Well, once the Star Barracks are gone, there's going to be an entirely new layout in terms of blocks and roadways in that portion of the island. So there will be roadways that run underneath where the Star Barracks currently stand. Yeah.
Roadways that run underneath it?
Yeah, there will be roadways on the surface.
Okay.
In the location where the Star Barracks currently stand.
So this this rumor is not true, that they're digging out that ground to put in electrical and piping and water pipes and that sort of thing?
There will be, underneath those roadways, there will be all new utilities. As we develop the island, all of the infrastructure on Treasure Island will be replaced. There will be entirely new roadway systems, and the utility systems underneath those roadways will be.
So it's not
entirely
specific to that area then?
No, it's
No, okay.
throughout the
Okay,
island. Yeah.
thanks.
And just one quick thing, maybe this is what Paris was going to ask about. I know everybody probably saw news articles Sunday and Monday about Lucas Museum
Yeah.
potentially being interested in locating at Treasure Island. That's in a very preliminary stage. They're looking at this as a possible location, as well as still Los Angeles and Chicago. We've engaged in a dialogue, but we don't have any specific proposals. His interest is in finding a location where he can build and open a museum as soon as possible, and so he's.
Possibly have access to it without paying.
That is
Why
not a
not?
conversation we've gotten to yet. At this point, we're looking to see, is there a site that would fit
Yeah, if he has
proposed
to pay,
museum?
or his student has to pay, I don't think he's gonna come.
Yeah.
But that being said, I wanted to ask you a direct question.
Yeah.
Whoa,
My
sorry.
name is Paris, I've been on the island for about 16 years, close to it. And this is probably going forward with the redevelopment of the island as well. Cause to pause for me, which is you guys had this whole tree cutting thing going on, and it just stopped. And so, again, cause to pause is because if you're doing redevelopment of the island going forward, I think that the residents here need to be informed that when these, because, you know, you guys gear us up to have these things happen, then all of a sudden it stops, and then all of a sudden we're like, what the hell is going on? You know, because it alters our daily living. We always have to inconvenience for these people coming on the island and so on and so forth. So again, you know, I don't know if it's a financial reason or, again, going forward, future development, will those things be pausing as well? Either way, the residents need to be informed.
On the tree removals, particularly around the Star Barracks and what they call the eucalyptus lot when down here on Treasure Island, we didn't get proper notification out early enough to tell people that that was going to be beginning. And that's something we want to make sure we're doing going forward. In terms of the reason that it stopped, and part of the reason we were in such a rush to get it started, is between January and May is bird nesting season, and you pretty much can't cut trees down during this time. And so the reason to try and get that work completed last October, November, December was so that was with knowledge that during this time we wouldn't be able to cut trees down. So that was the reason it started and was such a focused effort, and why it stopped after the first of the year.
Why'd they just cut the tops off? They just cut the tops off and left the trunks standing there. Why'd they do that?
Part of it was, again, to get the process started, and so they'd have free range for equipment and stuff.
Discourage birds?
I know people have a lot of questions for Rachel. I'm
So, yeah.
perfectly happy to take more questions, but I don't know if that's our best use of time.
I have
Okay.
a question for you on the construction hotline.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you know I'm always at the RAD meetings. So my question is, you're asking the community to now call you about dust control and contractor and trucks?
Relating to the developer's activities, and that's the developer's
Only.
phone number. Yeah.
So when they see the trucks that are with CB&I, Gilbane, Tetra Tech, Shaw, whoever you decide, or whoever they decide to hire,
Yeah.
how are they going to know the difference between your construction trucks and the Navy's remediation trucks and things like that if they're not really aware? I mean, are you guys going
Yeah.
to start telling them the difference so that they
Yeah,
can
no,
report the right
we can
things?
definitely provide information on what work is going on in what areas. Generally speaking, the bulk of the Navy's activity, for those that aren't familiar, is currently focused primarily in the residential neighborhood. They do have a project up by Pier 1 that's ongoing right now, But otherwise, most of the Navy activity is focused down here on the southern end, whereas the developers' activity is going to begin at the causeway and between the causeway and the Star Barracks. So that corner of the island is going to be mostly developer activity. The Navy will be more here at the northern end.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because a lot of the times, like with the school, for instance,
Yeah.
they finished the job, the Navy, and then they started it up again. Meanwhile, you guys are doing things over here, so it's really important that the community can differentiate
Noted.
between remediation activities and your construction activities.
Yeah.
And also that they're provided on the same piece of paper with the appropriate numbers, instead of having to go to the fence to find them. They need the appropriate numbers to call the other regulators as well. When you do these, could you do that from now on, and maybe in another language too, so people don't just read English?
Take it in mind.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.